Chancellor, Somaiya Vidyavihar University, to address.
Thank you, Dr. Knight, Tom, for accepting our invitation today. He did ask if anybody had questions. So if there are people who have questions, you welcome them still after I finish speaking. It is our 63rd Foundation Day. It has been a difficult year. The COVID pandemic has affected us all in terms of loss of lives and livelihoods. A Foundation Day is one in which we reflect on the foundations of our past, the realities and opportunities of the present, and our hopes and dreams for the future. Difficult in a year like this to think and keep dreaming. But as the students from Nareshwari, when they started, they talked about taking challenges head on and going on moving forward. And that's the spirit with which we are trying to go forward. One of the Sanskrit sayings that our founder liked was "Na manushat paro dharma." No greater religion than service to humanity. And I would like to begin by looking at the year gone by in terms of the wonderful service done by everyone in our institutions and organizations to fight in this COVID pandemic. Chief among them were the institutions under the KJ Somaiya Medical Trust, which are the KJ Somaiya Hospital, the Medical College, the Nursing College, and the College of Physiotherapy. They work night and day as frontline workers in the pandemic, whether it be the nurses or nursing interns or faculty of the School of Nursing or the BSc program in nursing, whether it would be the physiotherapy college faculty and PG students who were actively involved in providing care, or the doctors, residents, interns, and the staff of the medical college and the hospital, where they treated more than 4,000 patients fighting for their life in this pandemic that is still with us. I do definitely want to recognize the leadership of Avni Oak, Shweta Manwarkar, and Varsha Fadke in this frontline fight, and people all who have tried to stand strong, tall, again in the spirit as described as our students from Nareshwar in the beginning, taking the challenges head on. In fact, I visited the medical college campus on one such visit a few weeks ago. Some students were there just to take pictures. They were students of our medical college. And I was just asked them, what they were doing. So they said that, they had graduated and it was time for them to leave. And so I asked them what was the best thing they liked about their education and the worst. And in one word, there were about 7 of them. It was an early Sunday morning, and all of them, and all of them in one word said, COVID. They said, this is what has defined our experience. We saw the best and the worst. It was most difficult, and it also was most enriching. I am sure as students, interns who are becoming doctors, they will look back at this as a very defining time in their lives. The COVID period has also created a lockdown in education. Physical schooling has come to a standstill. That has also led to inequities of learning and access. Many of our students study in village schools. Just a few weeks ago, when I was with Principal Maruti Dhaitarak in Lakshmiwadi, he told us about how we have 1,024 students of which only 505 are active on Zoom. He said 285 were accessed through WhatsApp groups, but for the others, 210 of which they would go to the villages, find temples, find halls, find marriage halls, find panchayat offices, and teachers would go create these study groups and then access them physically so that their learning wouldn't end. And there were 24 of them, I think, for which the students, they did not know where they were. So I think this is really difficult times in terms of giving school access to education. And compliments to our teachers who are trying to make that. And this is not just Lakshmiwadi I would like to talk to. I would like to talk to our schools in Nareshwari, even in Vinay Mandir, in Mumbai, in Sakarwadi, in Samirwadi, even in Madhya Pradesh, where we are running classes because schools had completely shut down. And I still remember when Ashwini came to me asking me for mobile phones for those who had absolutely no access to education. And we tried to make that education also available because for whom the inequities had really been amplified. Everybody, even in Nareshwari last week, I was there and we had new students come to our Balakashram because the pandemic had closed one Balakashram outside Mumbai to close down. And there were 15 new students over there. I was there one day before Raksha Bandhan. And some of the girls there, new as well as old, tied me a Rakhi each. It was wonderful. I said, now that you've tied me a Rakhi as a brother, what do I give you? And their only answer was, come back soon. We'd like to see you here again. And it's just, it's just such a, we have to see life as how it is to be lived. And these are those moments in which life itself comes alive. And these are realities that these are the students who probably had life in one Balakashram and suddenly found themselves in another. And how do you adapt to these new realities? Compliment our team of Damini and Dhwani, who worked very strongly with all our heads of institutions to find students whose families had been affected in terms of hospitalization of their parents or themselves in terms of COVID and try to provide them financial aid. And of course, our hostel staff who worked night and day to make sure that the foreign students who were, I will say, living in our hostels had no way to go back to their countries of Nigeria, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Kenya, Congo, Rwanda, Swaziland, Bangladesh, Afghanistan. How do they go back? And they were taken care of as students as their own home. And Babita there looking after all of them. It was a time of transformation this last year. All the institutions moved to online learning. Teachers all across our campus and around the globe have not had a vacation. They've had to adapt to move towards a different medium of instruction on the fly. And I do think that as Dr. Tom Knight said, it's not something that the professoriate has hidden that everybody doesn't know everything cold. You don't know what is cold, and at the same time, you're switching to a different medium to hold attention of students, face criticism. I have to really take hats off to all the teachers and the faculty who have worked, and of course, the students who have stayed with their learning. And compliments to all our schools for delivering outstanding results. Somaiya school, they had the third batch cross the 10th standard, and just like the first batch, the third batch also stopped Mumbai, if I'm not mistaken, Maharashtra, and plenty of the students came in the national merit list. And also institutions like our KJ Somaiya Institute of Management, where the placements in spite of difficult year has been very good. And that is also true across all our other institutions. Student groups also went into online mode. Student groups such as our Orion Racing at the KJ Somaiya College of Engineering came first in the Formula Bharat in the electric category. And also the Redshift Racing, they also did very well. They came third in the manufacturing section under Hitansh Mehta's leadership of last year. Faculties also moved to this online mode differently. Professors such as Rudraksh taught Sankhya, Reshma, Prakrit, and Prasad Bhide Sanskrit in various institutions, found that they got audiences from different parts of the world, whether audience students also from our own campus, but also students from New York, Dubai, Melbourne, California. The world has transformed itself more than we can imagine. The move to digital is not just temporary. It's also going to be a new world in which students will want to learn in bits and pieces, as well as in a much wider array of subjects. And you might just want a student who wants to learn Hindi poetry. You might want to learn somebody who wants to learn biology, what it would be to do cancer biology. It's going to be a different world. What can you learn online? What can you learn offline? Whether you learn in a hybrid format. When we created Somaiya Vidyaveer University 2 years ago, Dr. Pillai, a vice chancellor, mentioned at the beginning that we thought about enabling possibilities for students. Can you pursue honors? Can you add major? Can you add minors? This is very common in what is done in the United States. It's not very common here in India. But I'm delighted that when we created this, more than 100 students of the SK Somaiya College decided to pursue added degrees of minors in their own college or also in partnership with the KJ Somaiya College of Engineering. And we will add other institutions such as the KJ Somaiya Institute of Dharma Studies and bring those courses for that. But as we expand to digital and we grow, we would also like to expand the physical. Students are longing to return to campus. There are many students who've joined here for a 2-year program. The first year has been entirely digital. We are trying to reopen our hostels for second-year students who have vaccinations so that they can come and enjoy the physical campus experience. I think the physical campus experience cannot be substituted with a pure digital experience. Learning has to be experiential. I was in the Madhya Pradesh Ratapani forests just a weekend ago, walking with my son who was talking to me about going to the Himalayas for a trek. And I was asking him whether we have to take leave of 1 or 2 days from school. And he was just asking me, but Papa, I learn a lot even by walking in these forests. And so I do think that learning has to also be it has to be experiential. I think if you go into a forest and you learn what a palash tree can do, whether its roots can bind the bale of hay, whether it is what makes for a good environment. If you have trees, how the water can prevent soil erosion, how the Gond tribal makes his art, how the mud hut, which is created, or the Chuna plaster house has much better climate adaptive properties than it is when you do with cement and steel, how you can do low carbon farming, how you can do agroecology practices, which Larry over here has, sorry, worked with me as we develop partnerships with Michigan State University with the help of Karim Maredia or Doug Bueller. And I think these are things that we need to be on the ground as we see. And as Somaiya Vidya Vihar, we're dreaming that we create off-campus physical experiences in the worlds of life sciences, forests, in traditional artisanship, design, such as what we do in Kutch in Kala Vidya, or we do in tribal development in Nareshwari. We are preparing for a return to the campus as well. We're working on building a new dome, which when completed in the next few months, will be able to house 800 new students, almost 800. And also, as we just talked in the beginning, trying to open a new campus sports facility, A Club, which will have badminton, squash courts, 50-meter pool, table tennis, in addition to our 400-meter track. I think we, Tom Knight has just shown us that how enabling possibilities is when somebody who studies computers can adapt to studying biology, and after studying biology, move to founding a company in synthetic biology, which is a creation of almost virtually a new field, and then once again switch to form a company, Ginkgo, which I think is soon to do a listing and become very large synthetic biology company. It shows that you have to keep your mind open and you have to keep learning. And as he said in the words of Feynman, you will soon learn something that nobody has learned before and create wholly new fields. And Somaiya Vidya Vihar is here in terms of the motto, Jnanat evatu kaivalyam, liberation only through knowledge. And Tom Knight's talk was all about learning, learning, and learning. I would like to welcome again you all and end with one of the prayers that were said in the beginning prayer of the campus. Sarvetra Sukhina Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhamaknuyat. Let everybody be happy, let nobody suffer from misery, and let everybody see good things. I think the times are always going to be challenging. We do look forward to a safer, stronger, and happier world. Thank you so much again for joining us on this foundation day.